Hello, Buckeye Nation. How are we doing today? It is a beautiful, beautiful first day of September. Fall is just around the corner, but it feels like fall is already here because college football is back. And more importantly, Buckeye football is back on Saturday. Oh, man, have we been waiting for this season for a very long time. The last game we played was almost 8 months ago. In fact, it was over it was a little bit over 8 months ago. So, getting back on the football field here with a pretty good roster, which we're going to go through in a minute here. Wow. And what expectations this team has coming into this season with a new defensive coordinator. That side of the ball is going to be very interesting to watch. I'm going to talk Ohio State football for the next 15 to 20 minutes, give you a roster overview and kind of what you need to look out for this Ohio State team. Maybe some sleeper players that I have that maybe you didn't think of before. If you are an Ohio State fan, I highly encourage you to stick around. I talk Ohio State football after every single game. I do a review and reaction and then kind of look ahead to the next game as well and what went right, what went wrong, what we need to get better before the end of the season, things like that, right? I do an Ohio State fan reaction after every single game played. So if you're an Ohio State fan, you want to stick around for that. If you're not an Ohio State fan and you somehow find yourself clicking on this video, I really still do appreciate your clicks and I appreciate your support. Hey, I post videos about college football throughout the season, top 25s, weekly predictions, news videos, and I update live in-game results. I update live on-game results over on my community tab. If that's anything like there's something you're interested in, hit the subscribe button down below, ring a bell so you know when I upload, and leave a like, comment, do anything you can, share this video. Anything you can help support my channel does mean a lot. Buckeye fans, let's talk about Buckeye football. I think we all know what this offense is going to be this year, and it very well could be the best offense in America. A lot of Ohio State fans have that expectation for this offense this year, that this is supposed to be the best offense in America, and we may very well have the best position players in every level of the offense, maybe except for the tight end. But we have a Heisman candidate quarterback in C.J. Stroud. He's the betting favorite in most sports books. And then even if Stroud gets hurt, there's a proven guy back there in Kyle McCord that played pretty well during the time that he had last year, and a talented true freshman coming in Devin Brown, a very highly touted player who, if he can end up working out, Ohio State thinks he's going to play pretty well. So quarterback room, even if Stroud gets hurt, yes, it would be devastating, but there are still guys back there that I'm confident enough in what we have around the quarterback room to where even if C.J. Stroud were to fall ill, get hurt, whatever have you, that's going to be fine. But I know C.J. Stroud is going to be fine. He played wonderfully last season, and talk around spring camp, fall camp, summer camp is that he has been only better. He has a new helmet, says it fits him better. They call it the astronaut helmet, says it fits him better and it's more comfortable, says he can see more and he feels more mobile in it. And then the fact is that everyone around him is saying how much more accurate he's gotten and how much smarter he has gotten as a football player, which for the rest of the nation is really, really scary. That C.J. Stroud has seemingly only gotten better after a Heisman candidate season last year where he came up just short of winning the Heisman Trophy. He could very well win it this upcoming season. There are going to be some teammates of his, though, that are going to take some votes. In the running back stable, you have Travion Henderson and then Mayan Williams back there as well. Those two guys are going to be your 1-2 at the running back position. Now, Travion Henderson, over 1,000 yards last year, broke onto the scene as a really, really good player for this Ohio State team last season. Mayan Williams is a solid option in the backup, but the Ohio State running back depth beyond that might be tested. We have a true freshman whose name is escaping my mind right now, and then 3 preferred walk-ons with the injury down to Evan Pryor. Of course, he's going to be out for the season. So while I think Travion Henderson, again, is going to be a really, really good back this upcoming season, I think Travion Henderson is going to be fine. Is going to be one of the best backs in the nation. Behind him, Mayan Williams is there. Maybe the depth beyond that needs to be proven, though, in this running back room, that's for sure. When you look at the wide receiver room, we lost 2 1,000-yard receivers last year, Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. This still might be the best receiver room in America, with Jackson Smith and Jigba, a future possible top 10 NFL draft pick and possibly the best wide receiver in the entire nation. We'll play him out of the slot. We'll also play Emeka Egbuka out of the slot and a true freshman in Kyon Grays. And then in the rest of the wide receiver room as well, you have Marvin Harrison, who had his coming out party in the Rose Bowl with 6 catches, 80 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jaden Ballard is back there as well. Cameron Babb, once he gets back from an injury, he'll be a good part of this wide receiver room. A true freshman in Caleb Brown looks pretty good. Xavier Johnson has apparently been looking really good as a nice depth piece, the redshirt senior, to this Ohio State wide receiver stable. But the guy I haven't mentioned yet, and the guy that at this point, again, Buckeye fans are probably screaming at me to mention, he was named Ryan Day's most improved player this spring, summer, and fall, and that was Julian Fleming. Ryan Day says that he has been lights out during this offseason. So for Julian Fleming, who the guys would have expected him to break out maybe last year or if not the year before, this year it really does seem like Julian Fleming is ready to come onto the scene and be that number 2, maybe even number 3 wide receiver for this Ohio State team. It really does seem that way. On the offensive line, I mean, this is just going to be one of the best offensive lines in the country as well. Paris Johnson, Donovan Jackson on the left side of the line. You got Matthew Jones and DeJuan Jones on the right side of the line. And then Luke Whippler, is going to end up being that center. Wouldn't surprise me at all. See guys like Enoch Vahami get some snaps, and maybe Josh Fryer in there as well. Trey Leroy, I don't know why that was so hard for me to say. Carson Hinsman and George Fitzpatrick are a couple true freshmen that could get playing time as well. This is a very good and very deep offensive line group. And the position I haven't mentioned yet are the tight ends, which might be the offensive position where Ohio State struggles the most. And that's saying something because this is still a really good tight end room. Cade Stover figures to be that leading tight end. You have G. Scott, who is a converted wide receiver. He'll play some tight end, as well as Mitch Rossi and Joe Royer are a couple guys there as well that all 4 of them will be playing some tight end this season for the Scarlet and Gray. Overall, in this offense, I mean, I give this offense an A+ grade, and you can't really give them anything more. This offense was fantastic last year, and there's no reason why you should expect anything less than maybe 40 points a game out of this Ohio State offense. And honestly, I don't see a lot of defenses in the nation that are capable of slowing down the different looks, different schemes that this Ohio State offense can throw at their opponents. This is going to be one of, if not the best offenses in the entire nation. I can assure you of that, Buckeye Nation. What I can assure you of is what Ryan Day and company are hoping in, a top 10 defense. The defense over the past couple seasons has been questionable, and while it's had its good moments, it has been scrutinized very, very heavily. It's what maybe would have given us a better shot if that defense was better in the 2020 National Championship game, and it's what kept us out of the playoff last year and what lost us those games against Oregon and Michigan, especially the run defense. It needs a lot of work, but Ryan Day did not mess around. He went out and he got Jim Knowles, and he did not go out and hire Jim Knowles and say, okay, here's your staff. He went out, got Jim Knowles, and said, I think you are the best defensive coordinator in America. I want you to go get the people who you believe are also the best, and we are going to bring a top 10 defense to Columbus, Ohio. What do you say? Jim Knowles says that sounds great, and look at where he is now. He has his staff. A lot of guys on that staff are very, very, very talented. Of course, Larry Johnson, the defensive line coach, and a lot of new faces to that defensive staff there as well. Jim Knowles is also going to be helping with the linebacking group, which may very well be the position grouping on this Ohio State defense that needs the most work. That's the position grouping I kind of want to talk about first, because it's the position group that undeniably has talent here, but it probably is the position group that needs the most work coming into this season. So Steele Chambers, Tommy Eichenberg are a couple redshirt juniors that are going to be very effective for this defense. Terada Mitchell, Cody Simon, Reed Carrico, and then a couple former transfers. Chip Trainum comes in this year from Arizona State, and then Pale Gautayote came over from USC last year. He figures to get some playing time this year. Guy I haven't mentioned yet, true freshman CJ Hicks, who is second on the depth chart in that will position on the linebacking side. He's supposed to have a really, really good season. Oh, something else I should mention, Jim Knowles runs a 4-2-5 defense. 4 up front, 2 linebackers, and then 5 defensive backs. So, I mean, with 8 pretty good, talented linebackers here on this depth chart, again, I use ourlads.com for the depth chart. I expect all 8 of those guys to appear on the tackle sheet this year for Ohio State. All 8 of those guys are very talented. All 8 of those guys, I'm sure, have put excessive work in this spring, summer, and fall. And that's a linebacker group that I hope is ready to go. This is the Notre Dame team that is going to run the football. They don't have Kyron Williams, but Chris Tyree is a speedster running back. And the linebacker's big job is going to be trying to stop that inside run. Because, again, if Chris Tyree can get in between the tackles and into the secondary, good luck trying to catch up to him. He has some world-class speed. Let's talk about the defensive line for a little bit. This was another area that got scrutinized last year for Ohio State because of how much that run defense struggled at times. JT Tuimoloau, Jack Sawyer, Mitchell Melton, Javonte Jean-Baptiste, and Tyler Friday are going to be playing on the ends. When you look on the interior of the defensive line, Teron Vincent, Jerron Cage, Michael Hall, Jaden McKenzie, Ty Hamilton, and then Tyleik Williams. Tyleik Williams, the guy that is looking to break out this year. He does have that starting role as of right now as the defensive tackle. Teron Vincent has that starting role as a nose tackle, and Tyleik Williams could have a breakout year on this defense. But the breakout player who I haven't mentioned yet on this defensive line is Zack Harrison. The true senior is a guy that, well, was getting a lot of NFL attention last year and was a supposed first-round NFL pick. And then Zack Harrison just didn't have the season that everyone thought that he would have. But don't worry, because I feel like Zack Harrison, he seems to have put in a lot of work this camp. He seems to be rearing and ready to go. Ignore that message there. I apologize. But Zack Harrison looks ready to go. This Zack Harrison, he just looks like a new player. If you've watched highlights of him in camp and everything like that and talk around Columbus, is that Zack Harrison is ready to just explode this upcoming season. He very well could prove to be that best defensive lineman out there. And you can't just worry about Zack Harrison because, again, that entire defensive front is going to be able to get pressure to the quarterback. Jack Sawyer, JT, Tyleik, Teron Vincent, all of them had more than 2 sacks last season. So all of them are more than capable of getting back to the quarterback and push around the offensive line. Also should be able to, there's some big boys on this defensive line this year, should be able to help close gaps that the other offensive line is going to try to create. Let's move on to the secondary. This has been another pretty scrutinized part of the Ohio State defense individually because of some of their efforts just in past couple seasons. Again, 2020, this was not a very good secondary. Ended up getting, or got tore up by Indiana last season. It had its good moments, but there was definitely a lot of circumstances where you had blown coverage, guys out of position, things like that. Corners are going to look something like this. You got Cam Brown and Denzel Burke, who has changed his number apparently from 29 to 5. So Denzel Burke, who used to wear this number that I'm wearing now, probably see it better on the shoulder pad. There you go. Number 29 is changing his number to number 5. True freshman Ryan Turner, another cornerback, is getting that number 29. You got Jordan Hancock, J.K. Johnson, and another true freshman in Jair Brown that are going to round out that corner position. At the free safety, it looks like we're going to have Ronnie Hickman, Kai Stokes, and Sonny Styles. Stokes and Styles are a couple true highly touted freshmen. Strong safety, Josh Proctor and Court Williams going to play that position. And then nickelback, which is kind of a new position to this Ohio State defense. Cam Martinez, Lathan Ransom, and what could be Ohio State's most influential defensive player overall, Tanner Mcallister. And I think he's helped this defensive back group out a lot. He brings experience over within the Jim Knowles system with Jim Knowles, and he brings over experience, period. He's a graduate transfer. So Tanner Mcallister is definitely a guy that I love having on this defense. As soon as I saw his transfer come in, I was like, great, that's fantastic. He has a year in the system, and he's going to be able to help get these guys to adjust. And talk about this defense has been Jim Knowles is impressed with what this defense has done this offseason so far. He says he likes the way that guys are coming along. He likes the way how fast that these guys are picking up these defensive schemes. He likes everything about this defense, which should give Ohio State fans tremendous confidence. Jim Knowles made Oklahoma State's defense what it is known as today. And last season, it almost got them into the college football playoff. Really, really good defense last year. Top 10 in sacks, top 10 in a lot of other statistical categories. was really good in the rush defense there as well, and couple that with the talent that Ohio State has here, this does have the possibility to be a top 10 defense. That's not out of the question. However, I'm going to say that this Ohio State defense will not be top 10. I do think it's going to take maybe next year for Ohio State to get into that top 10 defensive range. And being flat out honest with all of you Ohio State fans out there, we don't necessarily need a top 10 defense this year if the offense is what it showed it is capable of last season, which, let's be honest, it probably still is. I mean, if this Ohio State offense continues to put up numbers, if not better numbers than it did last season, this Ohio State defense, all they really have to do is be top 20, top 25, and that's going to be good enough to compete for a national title. And that's not a discredit to this Ohio State defense. That's just a credit to how good the offense is going to be. Special teams, Jesse Mirko comes back. Michael O'Shaughnessy should be taking punts there as well. Place kicker Noah Ruggles, Jake Seibert coming back. Noah Ruggles will also handle kickoff duties. They may also turn that over to a true freshman in Jaden Fielding. In terms of some kick returners, Emeka Egbuka, Cam Martinez, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, among some others, will be fielding kicks for us this upcoming season, especially Emeka Egbuka, who is a great kick returner. So we now looked at the Ohio State roster, and we know the talent that is there, right? But let's talk about overall expectations. The offense should be one of the best offenses in the entire nation. The defense, I mean, I don't see how this defense doesn't improve from last year. With Jim Knowles coming in, with all of his staff that he maybe brings over from Oklahoma State or has picked from elsewhere, I just don't see a way that this Ohio State defense does not improve and does not get better. Again, like I've said, it doesn't need to be anything special like a top 10 defense, but a top 20 defense, that is going to be a huge step in the right direction for Ohio State to not only be good down the line, but to start competing for a national title this year as well, which I think a lot of Ohio State fans will say that is the expectation this year. They want a national title in 2022. A lot of people are making the case why Ohio State is the best team in America this year, and my unbiased, and let's be honest, biased opinion as well, but my opinion is that this is the best team in America. I realize that Alabama is there, and I think Alabama is also going to be stupidly, ridiculously good this year as well. But what else is new with the Nick Saban era? Ohio State's going to be a very, very good team this year, and the expectation is to get to a national championship game, to avenge their loss against Michigan, to get to the Big Ten title, to win that game in Indianapolis, and to make their way as a top 2 team in the college football playoff. That is the full expectation, and you could even go farther than that. That's my expectation. I would be very, very pleased with a college football playoff berth, but I don't know that any team in the Big Ten really stacks up to Ohio State this year. The closest is definitely going to be Michigan, but they lose a lot on their defensive side. Granted, a lot of that offense comes back from last year, minus, of course, Hassan Haskins, and the quarterback situation is still trying to get figured out with the Wolverines over there. But this is an Ohio State team that is going to get better and going to improve, make no mistake about it. Taking a look at the schedule down there, well, a lot of people are going to look at it and say that this isn't a hard schedule. Make no mistake, if a team like Rutgers had to play this schedule, Rutgers would probably, well, and let's not take Rutgers. The average college football team, if they were to play this schedule, might go 4-8. This is a tough schedule. Now, it's beneficial to Ohio State because they don't leave the state of Ohio until October 8th. But Notre Dame, that is a tough test to start out. Notre Dame's a good defensive team. While they have stuff to work out offensively, that defense is really going to put a test to this Ohio State team. And I think Notre Dame can keep that game a lot closer than a lot of people think. And it's 2 of the most storied programs in college football. It's going to be college game day. Going to be a fun atmosphere. Some easy wins on the schedule. Arkansas State, Toledo, Rutgers, Northwestern, Indiana should be able to win all those. Wisconsin and Iowa are going to prove to be defensive challenges and, again, test this Ohio State offense. But neither of them really have the offense to really take advantage of what this Ohio State defense is going to have to offer this year. So both of those, I favor the Buckeyes. Michigan State on the road, kind of our first true test of the year there when you go on the road in Spartan Stadium. Now, if you remember what happened last year, this Ohio State passing attack absolutely tore up the Michigan State secondary. And I think that's very well what's going to happen this season as well. Now, that secondary for Michigan State is going to improve and going to get better, but I still think Ohio State's passing attack is going to be really tough to stop for the Michigan State defense. Ohio State, I favor there. If people have Ohio State losing a game, it's more than likely that road game there against Penn State. Now, Penn State has struggled the past couple of seasons, but the Nittany Lions returned Sean Clifford. They have a lot of talent at running back, even though they didn't have a 100-yard game rusher last year. That defense at Penn State is going to be good this year as well. That, besides maybe Notre Dame, very well could be the best team that Ohio State plays all year, and also besides the Michigan Wolverines. Now, Penn State, that's not the whiteout game, surprisingly. So Ohio State avoids the whiteout game. Woo! But it's still playing in Happy Valley. That's a tough environment. That's going to be a good Penn State team. I think that's going to be a phenomenal game to watch. The road game against Maryland has me more concerned as the days go along, because especially late in the season, if this is an Ohio State defense that is still struggling to get things going, it can turn into an offensive shootout. And while, again, Ohio State clearly has the more raw, pure, talented defense than Maryland, it's a road game towards the end of the season, and it's college football, so things can happen. So watch out for that Maryland game. I still don't think the Buckeyes lose it, but it could be a sneaky trap game. And then, of course, the game. We all know the storyline with that one is come back and win the game this year. Because you lost last year, because of how you lost last year, Ohio State has had that score in the locker room all season. They're not going to let that game go. I'm excited for Buckeye football. Are you guys excited for Buckeye football? Let me know down in the comment section below. There's no reason why you shouldn't be. This is going to be one of the best teams in America, and I just can't wait to see this team on the field on Saturday. I wish you all well and a happy 2022 college football season. Remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. I'll see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.